Crude is the story of a class action lawsuit that's been going on for 17 years. I captured 3 or 4 years of the struggle where 30,000 rainforest inhabitants are suing Chevron because of what they allege were negligent oil drilling practices by Texaco. Chevron bought Texaco and therefore inherited the lawsuit. Basically, it's a region that's probably the size of Rhode Island, a 1,700 square mile region that has been devastated by oil production. And I followed a lawsuit as it unfolded in the jungle.
How did you get involved in the project? Who contacted you to request your service?
Well, there's an American attorney who's been hired to be a consultant on this class action lawsuit, and he was a fan of my films and came by my office and told me about the story. And I was a little reluctant because I'm not an activist filmmaker, and I'm a filmmaker who likes to tell stories as they're unfolding. And at the time that he told me about this, it seemed like so much stuff had happened in the past.
Was he the attorney that was in the on your film?
Yeah, Stephen Donziger, who's in the film.
Great guy.
Yeah. And he's very persuasive. I mean, when he was telling me the story, a lot of red flags were going off in my head. Red flags like, well, this is a 17-year struggle. Well, at the time he came to me, it was a 13-year struggle, and it seemed like I had missed a lot of opportunities to film. I generally like to tell stories as they're unfolding in the present tense. Also, the fact that the lawyer was reaching out to me, I made it clear to him that I am not going to make a one-sided piece of agitprop propaganda for a lawsuit. I will come onto the scene as an independent journalist, and you'll have to trust that. You may not like what I come up with as a conclusion, and he was fine with that because he believed fervently in the cause. And at the end of the day, I think the best way to be an advocate for a cause is to be truthful and not to whitewash some of the troubling aspects of this case.
I thought the humor that came out in the documentary really humanized everyone really, really well.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
The one character in the story, the scientist for Chevron. Now, did you personally film her? Is that your interview?
That's my interview with the Chevron employees.
She, in my opinion, I mean, it was intriguing. I mean, I was watching her and listening to what she was saying. I mean, did she come across to you as a very truthful individual?
I have found in these situations that people really believe what they're saying.
Right.
I have made films about wrongful conviction cases where, hold on, this guy's, let me just stop. Is that noise going to bother you?
Oh, no. I did interviewed Gretchen Moll here like 3 years ago, and I mean, it was like,
the Chevron woman in the Chevron scientist, when I interviewed her, I believe she believes what she's saying. And I think it's almost worse when people believe in their cause as opposed to people who are trying to pull one over on you. I don't think she is trying to pull one over on us. I think she fervently believes her point of view. And to me, it's abundantly obvious that there's a huge problem in that area caused by oil production. Whether they have wrapped themselves up in enough legal arguments to win the lawsuit, that's really not what the film is about. To me, the film is about the impact on these indigenous cultures.
It's interesting to me, when you approach a project like this, do you come up with an idea of a script to a certain degree, or do you just shoot everything imaginable that you want to shoot and then make an assessment from the body of film that you have and come up with the script?
I mean, making these films are like jumping out a window and hoping there's a mattress on the other side to catch you. And I think the way to make these films is to have zero preconceived notions. You have to be open to the twists and turns that the story take, and not have any preconceived scripted ideas or even a preconceived idea of which way you want the film to go, because then you miss the story. No way could I have predicted some of the twists and turns this case took. Never would have known that Pablo would go from this unknown, impoverished lawyer to being presented on the world stage at Live Earth and getting a CNN Hero Award. I mean, that's an incredible journey for a character to make. So the way to make these films is you just, you dig in and you live with these people and you follow the story and see where it takes you. I mean, my previous film, or 2 films ago, Paradise Lost, which is a well-known film about a wrongful conviction case where 3 teenagers were wrongfully convicted, in my opinion, for these devil-worshipping murders of 3 8-year-old boys. Well, when we first went down to make the film, we had read all of these one-sided press reports and assumed that they were guilty. And we started the film thinking we were making a film about guilty teenagers who could have made, basically a real-life River's Edge. How could 3 teenagers do such horrible things to 3 8-year-old boys? Mm-hmm. And if we had remained locked into that perception and locked into that script, we would have missed the real story, which was there's no evidence against these kids, no physical evidence, and that they have been railroaded. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you have to remain open to these nuances.
Finally, in regards to Crude, what would you hope that viewing audiences around the country, it's going to be released here shortly, what would you hope that they would walk away with?
The film is a story of a lawsuit, but to me it's a much larger issue. To me it's really a human rights film about how we have treated indigenous people. That when we fill our gas tanks, and this is not an anti-oil film, it's an anti-corporate irresponsibility film. When we fill our gas tanks with cheap and abundant gasoline, there's an impact on other people. These indigenous people have had their way of life destroyed. Whether it was legal drilling or not legal drilling, there's a moral responsibility here. And what multinational corporations have done to indigenous people in the late 20th and early 21st century is just the modern day continuation of something that's been going on for 500 years, and that is white people have treated indigenous people with extreme disregard, including our own country. I mean, we started this country by taking land away from the people who lived here, and it hasn't changed, throughout the world. And I just think I want people to be much more sensitive to the impact we have had on other people, and to try to bring relief to these people in the rainforest. They have been systematically poisoned and don't have the basic necessity of life, clean drinking water.
Mm-hmm. Any new project that you're working on right now?
Well, I do a television series called Iconoclasts on the Sundance Channel, and we're going into season 5, and that's exciting. And I'm about to really shift gears, and I'm about to start a film about Clive Barker, the horror writer, intimate portrait of Clive as he embarks on directing his first movie in 14 years. As well as a study of, he wrote the Albarat book series, and he's a painter. I hope this film does good, does well. I hope Crude helps people, but I'm kind of shifting gears a little bit.
Well, Joe, thank you very much. And once again, I was extremely impressed with the way you edited that whole movie together.
Okay.
Absolutely
Thanks.
fantastic.
Great.
I wish you nothing but success.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.